Thanks for joining me again for another session of Choice Spirit. I'm back with this word thing again because, as I said before, it's very deep. So every opportunity I get to share a little more about the word, not from a religious perspective, but just from a little spiritual insight. So the word is alive. It's real, y'all. Okay? So we're going to speak about the word from a place where when you send out a word, you ought to know all that goes with your word. When you speak your word, you know, the guys used to like to say word, word, word. Back in the day. When you speak your word, you breathe life into that word. You make it live. When you send out a word, it's doing something. It's not just going out. It's doing something. It's making waves. We talked about that before, right? So you breathe life into a word. The words don't have, in addition to definitions and meaning and your intention that you send with the word, you send a nature with the word. Your word carries energy. Spirit can't catch a ride on a word. It can get a ride with the word. So when the word comes, it's packing. It's packing, okay? It's got intention in there. It may have motive in there. It may have all the garbage that's going on within your body in there. It may have your attitude in there, your disposition, your way of thinking. Is imbued with your breath. Whatever comes out, whatever is going into that word. So if you have a loving spirit and you're speaking it, it's imbued with that. If you're having all kinds of inner conflict and wars going in within yourself, it's imbued with that. Now, the person on the receiving end has options. They may not know that, but they have options. Hey, they can put on their armor of love and let those swords, those words spelled backwards swords, deflect or do a boomerang thing where it goes back to the sender. Because those words don't go out null and void. Those words do not go out null and void. Like I said before, they're packing. Okay? So the person who is on the receiving end of those words has options. Armor of love, send it back to the sender, or let it deflect somewhere else. Right? Or allow it in and change the meaning of the word, redefine it. Neutralize the word. make it fit your narrative. And not take it personal, because it really isn't your stuff. It's not even your breath that is giving it life. Okay. Remember, words take place in the invisible world. It takes place up here in your mind, right? In the spiritual realm, sort of. And it's not brought out into the physical realm until it's spoken. And in order for that word to be spoken, you have to breathe life into it, breath into it. And in that breath, there's things that are going on within yourself that then are hitching a ride in that breath and is imbued in that word. Now, the word that you're sending out already has a definition attached to it that you believe it means. The sender may have sent it with an intent or a motive, good, bad, or indifferent. So when it comes into your space, your options are your armor of love, let it come in and neutralize it, or allow it to infect, affect, effect you in all ways. Meaning, you let it penetrate you and trigger things within you and affect your nervous system, which causes you to react. And depending on where you are in your internal conflicts or argument or whatever, because we all do self-talk. We'll talk about that in another video. We all do the self-talk. And it usually is back and forth in our mind, trying to work out situations, trying to understand things, debating ourselves, arguing with ourselves, you name it. I mentioned that also in another video. So, depending on where we are with ourselves, when those words come into us, by depending on the spirit of the person, the place, the state in which that person is that's sending, because it could be love, it could be well-being, it can be perfect health, it can be wonderful things that energizes you. So when it comes in, you have to assess quickly what you're going to do with the words that have just been sent your way. It's all good for as long as you're aware. This is where being aware, awareness comes, a little more conscious, a little more awakened, if you will, where you're able to see things more clearly and understand things more clearly. You can feel the energy and the nature of the energy that comes your way. You can feel the vibe. And then you can quickly adjust and then decide how you're going to handle that vibe. And like I mentioned the other ways, once you're aware, you can make these decisions. A lot of times, many of us, we react to the words that are coming our way. And because we're dealing with our own inner stuff, we cannot see past that in order to know that it's not personal. And in fact, if we go into the spiritual aspect of this, it is really that part of you. That part of you dealing with you, sending you a message. And you know what happens? You know when you've grown past a certain thing, where the words that were sent at you at one time would cause you to become all jacked up mentally, just lose it. And then one day the same words are thrown at you, and it's easy. It's just easy breezy. It's not affecting you in any way. That means you've evolved. You basically ascended. You have a new understanding and meaning for these words that have been thrown at you before that cause you to just lose it, or cause you to question your self-esteem, your self-image, lose your confidence, bring up fear, cause all kinds of triggers and nervous conditions. But then, one day those words come again. You come to realize that all that was imbued in those words, all the words that come packing with all kinds of drama and situations, is not about you. When you know what to do. So much love. Thank you. Thumbs up, subscribe, share.